Hello, hello, my magical friends. It is another podcast episode for Witchful Wades. I am Annika, and I am here to give you insight, guidance, and tools to allow you to live a magical life every single day. So this week, I want to talk about my dog, and we're going to expand on that a little bit more. I'm going to talk about how a situation with my dog ended up making me realize two ways that help me to live a magical life every single day. So I wanted to give these two tips to you. So let's get into the story. First off, most of you know, or if you've been following me for any period of time, you know that I have two Chihuahuas. And they usually are barking in the background. Not today, though, so far. But so one of them, Tia, is the older one. She just turned 7 years old. And she was purchased originally for me. And she ended up bonding with my hubster and is now completely his dog. Like this dog goes frantic if she is not around him. She also was born with congenital cataracts, so they've gotten worse through the years. So now at 7 years old, she is about 85% blind. So she really, has that anxiety when he's not around. So she also has black nails. Okay. And I am not comfortable with cutting black nails in my home. So I take her to her vet every 2 months and they clip her nails. The ride to the vet or anywhere that she has to go is a major fiasco because she is so hyper and she's not a hyper dog, but she gets very hyper and very anxiety ridden when she, again, knows that my hubster is around but can't get to him. So when we go in the car, because he drives everywhere we go. Why? That's just how it's always been. And that's the way I grew up as well. My dad always drove everywhere. My mom in the passenger seat and the kids in the back. So my husband always drives everywhere. So therefore that leaves me in the passenger seat or the back seat trying to wrangle her. Now we do have dog chairs or seats that go into the car. And then we also have the dog seat belts that go click right into, the human seat belts, the car seat belts. So I try and wrangle her around, but she just pants and she cries and she whines and everything because she can't sit on his lap while he's driving. So I was telling this story. Now we get into the magical part. So I was telling a friend of mine on the phone and I said, yeah, I've got to take her to the vet. I said, it's always a fiasco because, she's always trying to get on his lap and she goes like ballistic. She goes spasmodic because she can't. And luckily the vet's not any further away than it is because I wouldn't be able to stand the ride. And she stopped for a moment, dead silence. And then she goes, so why don't you just drive to the vet and let him hold her in the passenger seat? That dumbfounded me. Like it hit me like that is the most amazing idea that I have ever heard in my life. And why didn't I think of that? Why had we not thought of that? So crazy. Something so simple. Like it was mind blowing. And it's not that I'm dumb that I didn't think of that. It's just that it has always been done that way. He drives and I manage everything else. When the kids were little, he drove, I managed the kids. Now he drives, I manage the dogs, right? Like that's just how it was. That's how it is. And we didn't contemplate any other solution for the issue that we were having. Amazing, right? So as I was telling this story to everybody that would listen to it, because I was just like, I cannot believe that I didn't think of this before. Like, come on. So it made me, as I was really sitting there thinking about it one night, and you guys know that I do sit with spirit, right? So I'm sitting with my guides and stuff and kind of getting some information and just kind of putting out there that's kind of in my mind still, right? And all of a sudden I realized two things that allow me to really live a magical life every single day. And something that is so simple and easy to do. And it's not about rituals and it's not about spell crafting. It's about how you live your life every day and how you allow yourself to process through things, right? So the first thing that it made me realize as I was thinking about it was that if you have conversations with people, that is, I don't mean arguments. I mean, if you have conversations with people, you are bound to come across somebody that is going to see things differently than you, right? We all have our own opinion, but you can get a wonderful outside perspective from somebody that has no clue about the situation at all until you have told them something. That's huge. And that is I have the Living a Magical Life Facebook group. And I also have a membership, the Circle membership, which right now the doors are closed. Those will open again the end of October. And that's the core of those two things for me, is I want to be able to share and support. And that's what we have in those two areas. And I think it's so important that you have conversations with people, even the hard conversations, or even trying to get advice. And I don't mean going and venting, to people. Sometimes, I mean, that oftentimes helps as well. But just having simple conversations. This wasn't me asking a question. This was me just making a statement saying, oh my gosh, this is going to be like so horrible. I dread having to take her to the vet every time because the ride. And it just made somebody else go, well, duh, why don't you just flip your seats around? It'd be so much easier. And you know what it was? It absolutely was. But it took that outside, and even me saying it to her, it didn't, there was no solution in my mind. I wasn't searching for a solution, right? I just accepted the issue and the situation as it was. So conversation is huge. And conversation with like-minded people is priceless, right? Absolutely priceless, because they get you, they understand. The majority of the time, they're non-judgmental. I keep my groups drama-free, non-judgmental. I have, in my 35 plus years of teaching and working within metaphysical and witchcraft, I have seen and heard it all, and nothing phases me. And I don't judge, because we're all living our own path, right? So the conversations are huge. That was the first thing that made me really sit and realize, that really allows me to live a magical life, because when I have conversations with people, and I spark up conversations with people in the grocery store as we're waiting in line. Now it's a little bit louder, right? Because we're 6 feet away, but I spark up the conversations when I'm waiting in the doctor's office, or while we're standing in line at the county fair, or whatever it is. And it usually starts with a compliment to that person, because that immediately raises the vibration of yourself and the connection with that person. Usually, right? Some people just don't want to be bothered. But then you can go from there, and you'll be amazed at what you can learn and the different information, guidance, aspects, advice that you can get, and you can take it or leave it. But if you never heard it, or if there was never an opportunity for somebody else to hear what you're saying, what your ideas are, what your practices are, what you use for your tools and ingredients maybe, right? You wouldn't have the opportunity to get feedback. So conversation is huge. It's one of my most favorite parts about, again, the groups that I do, the consultations that I do. I absolutely love the conversation part of it, because it spurs up so many things. Number 2, the second thing is, and this was a big one, when you adjust what has become a habit, ease and flow is possible. That one was huge for me. So simple, right? When you adjust what has become a habit, ease and flow is possible. So why did I have such an issue? Well, because again, my hamster drove everywhere, right? That's just the way it was. So therefore that left me to wrangle the kids and dogs. Why did we do it that way? Because it's habit. because it's habit, it just continues to happen. You just do it, right? That's what habit is. You just do it. Well, once we adjusted what had become a habit, ease and flow is possible. When I took her to the vet today, it was the most enjoyable ride with that dog that we have ever had. She was completely calm. And in fact, again, if you want to see what she looked like in the car driving, go ahead to the website at witchfulways.com, click on the blog link, and you'll be able to see Tia riding like a little queen in the car. It was ease and it was flow. And not only does that work in situations, but it also works in your magical and mystical life. Right? If we're doing something all the time, but it's not quite working the way we wanted it to, maybe we just need to adjust something, just a little something, to allow a totally different experience or connection to occur from it. Just a simple conversation with a friend brought about this aha moment to me. Crazy. And again, that's why I love having the connections, interacting with you guys that come back and, you are coming to the group and you start interacting and asking questions and giving advice and sharing all the amazing things, because it gives all of us, the rest of us, those that you touch, a different perspective. A way to look at something a little differently than what we have been looking at it. And it can make us adjust just a little bit, that allows universe to throw ease and flow back at us. Super simple. Those two things in all aspects of life. One, have conversations, and you're bound to have someone to see things differently than you. You get an amazing outside perspective. Maybe an aha moment or two. And two, when you adjust what has become a habit, new ease and flow is possible, both in life and in manifesting. I hope my story, thanks for listening to it. I hope it made you at least giggle a little bit today. And hopefully you'll head on over to the group, the Facebook group, and let me know what you think about my aha moment. Like, has that ever happened to you? It was so crazy to me. I look forward to speaking with you again. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day.